Hey, good morning. I'm going to mount a 65-inch television on a wall using a SANUS VXF730 wall mount. That wall mount specifically states it's to be mounted on wood studs or concrete. If you don't have either one, call the manufacturer for recommendations. I don't have concrete, I don't have wood studs, I've got metal studs, and even the stud placing is incorrect in my wall. So here's the solution, and we're going to mount the base plate on this thing and get this up. This will hold the 175 pounds of television, extended 30 inches off the wall. So we got to put this on with some beef. Let's get started. And here's the problem. This needs to be the center of my television. And they gave me a stud here, and then a 17-inch stud to the right, and then a 24-inch to the left. This is going to make it impossible to mount this mount on two studs. If I pick the two 24s, the center of the TV is going to be here, and the arm assembly is not going to fit in here, and all the weight's going to be over one set of bolts. If I use the 17-inch studs, the center of the TV is going to be over this left bolt, and the TV has to be between two of the mount bolts on this. So the only way to put this mount on the wall, I'm going to put up a plywood backboard to tie into these three studs, and then I'll mount this to the plywood backboard with two of these bolts going into this metal stud. I went to the SANUS website, used their height finder, told that I wanted the top of my television 99 inches off the floor, and it told me where to put the mount. So I purchased a 2-foot by 4-foot 3/4 inch piece of hardwood, and I bought a 2-foot by 4-foot. I could use one smaller, but this is pre-cut, so it's very square, and it'll look really nice when it's installed. So we'll put this plywood backboard up. These are existing holes from electrical boxes for the electric and the audio cables. I moved the electric over, so this worked out nice. So I've done all the math, and this is where I need the bottom of my plywood to rest while I mount this to the wall. So I've clamped a level piece of wood here and put that plywood on it. This is where the plywood backboard needs to be located to mount that television where I want it. And left to right, it ties in all three studs. So this will be plenty of support to put that mount up, even though I'm working with metal studs and drywall. Let me get this installed. I've got the plywood backboard just fastened at the top with 3 screws just to hold it. Because as I mark and drill and take that board on and off, I want to put that board back in the exact same location, because I've already drilled maybe 15 holes in that locating fasteners. Because I have metal studs, I've got 3 inches of metal stud at the top of this wall, all the way across. And I've used these Tech screws to hold this plywood in place, because I'm actually in the metal stud securing this to the wall for now. And my plan is to put 9 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, we got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 across the top into this metal stud that runs along the top of this wall. And then I've got marked out 4 toggles. I'm going to put 4 toggles in there to grab that same metal stud from the back. If you need to secure something to a metal stud, these Tech screws are great, because they have a super fine point tip on them that if you reach into this to pull them out and you're not paying attention, you'll poke yourself and start bleeding. Because they have them for metal, they have them for wood. The metal tip on that is a pin. That thing is sharp. So I just drill a 1/8 drill bit hole through everything in the metal, and this goes right in there, and this tightens down really nice. I like these. I use them all the time on the metal studs. I'm also going to use these 1/4 inch toggles. The problem with the 1/4 inch toggle is this toggle takes a 1/2 inch hole to get it through the wall. I don't want to drill a 1/2 inch hole in my plywood, because the screw head is a 1/2 inch in diameter, so that screw head is going to go right through the plywood. So I've got a toggle for this one, toggle for this one. I've got other toggles throughout this plywood. So I've drilled a 1/8 hole through the plywood, through the drywall, through the metal. And what I'll do is I'm going to take, once I drill all the toggle locations, I'm going to take the plywood off the wall, and I'll open this hole in the plywood up to 1/4 inch to fit the bolt. And then I'll drill the wall separately to 1/2 inch to fit that body of that toggle through there, and then snap it in the wall. That way the hole in the plywood is no bigger than the fastener. I can't have a 1/2 inch hole in this plywood and expect that screw to hold with a 1/2 inch head. It'll pull right through the plywood. I'm going to use this toggle inside the metal stud. and this requires a 1/2 inch hole. To drill a 1/2 inch hole through the drywall and the metal stud, they don't come out round. That drill bit's gonna bounce around before it actually goes through that metal stud. So I drilled the pilot hole in the metal stud. Now I'm gonna open up with a 1/4 inch. And then I'm gonna use this step drill or unibit to get me up to the 1/2 inch size hole. The drywall hole is gonna be a little bit bigger, but it's gonna be super smooth and perfectly round. The reason why I use the 1/4 inch is the first step on this step drill is 1/4 inch. So once I make a 1/4 inch hole in the stud and put this step drill through the drywall, it'll find that 1/4 inch hole and center right up. So it's not hunting for it. The hole in the drywall is bigger than a 1/2 inch, but the hole in the stud is a 1/2 inch. But look how beautifully round that hole is. I'll set that toggle in there, it's ready to go. The bottom toggle is a hole in plain drywall. The one on the top is a hole going through the metal stud. Top hole's bigger, but it's round, so the plastic retainer fits in there nicely. And the toggle is lined up straight with the center of the hole. This will work out just fine. I don't want to mislead anybody. When I drilled the 1/2 inch hole in my studs, I used this step drill, and it made the drywall hole probably about 5/8, where if I could have located my 1/2 inch maximum step drill, I would have used this one, because this would have put a 1/2 inch hole through the drywall and through the stud. I couldn't find it, I didn't know where it was, so I went with the next size up. So my drywall hole is big, and I don't care because it's covered with plywood, but if you were putting up shelving or something like that and you need a 1/2 inch hole all the way through, you can get a smaller step drill. The biggest step on this drill is a 1/2 inch versus this step drill being 7/8, and this step drill is 1 3/8 inches. So just shop accordingly to what you need, because these step bits drill a beautiful hole. If you've got a drill in the metal studs and you want a nice round hole, I would do the step bit. The mount is secure. So I got a lag, a toggle, a lag, a toggle, lag, toggle, lag, and I've got a lag, toggle, lag. I didn't put in as many bolts on the bottom because all the load bearing is up top. The mount is 100% ready for the television. I've got the plywood up here. I trimmed around it with 1/4 round. Everything's painted. So now it's ready to have the TV hung on the mount and to run the cables in the wall. Kudos to you guys that do trim work for a living, because I suck at it. It took me 6 hours and 24 feet of 1/4 round molding to trim out 12 feet worth of this plywood perimeter. So I don't know how you do it. I stink at it. Well, there's 12 feet of 1/4 round I could throw in the garbage, because every one of those has a bad cut. The angles were great, but I cut them short. And you cut them short, you're screwed. Although a little extra caulking and some thick paint does kind of help. I hung this TV by myself this morning. I did another video on that. But the TV's on the mount and it's ready to go. Right now, this SANUS mount's fully off the wall. This is 30 inches off the wall. And when this TV's against the wall and you put a bubble level on it, it's level. And 30 inches off the wall, put a level on it, it's level. This mount is rock solid. There's nothing cheesy about this. There's no sag, no twist, no creak, no nothing. This mount is heavy duty. And the cool thing about this is the arms have channels in them. There's plastic covers on these arms to let you route the wires inside the arms. In this arm, I have the power cable. You can't see it. My HDMI cables and my Ethernet and RG6 cables, I couldn't get them in the arms because the bend radius is way too tight. Because I got 4 HDMI, I got the cable, and I got an Ethernet. I didn't want the One Connect box. All the bad reviews with these Samsung televisions is the One Connect box. So the only way I could get a television without the One Connect was I had to buy a 2019 model, and I had to buy the Q80R model. The Q90s, everything was One Connect. So had I gone One Connect, all my wires would be invisible. I opted to run all my wires in here, and they fold up nice. They do go through the pivot point of the arm. So that's a support. So as of now, the television's up, it's running, everything's ready to go. I just got to get the sound system back together, get all the AV equipment back in here, and it's good. This is quite the feat. This has taken me 2 weeks to put all of this together, but it turned out really well. And if you're looking for a TV mount, whether you're going to do a flush mount or not, I would get this SANUS mount. Even if you're going to flush mount, this SANUS is awesome. You can pull it away, hook it on, push it back to the wall. There's nothing cheesy about this mount. I was skeptical, but it proved me wrong. Well, I hope this journey I've taken helps somebody out. If you're looking for the ultimate television wall mount, I'd go with the SANUS VXF730. This thing's a monster. For home use, you're not going to beat it. I don't know anybody's going to have a 175-pound television. This will hold 95-inch television, 175 pounds, 30 inches off the wall. So it'll accommodate whatever you've got. Well, hey, thanks for watching.